G'day, I'm Greg and welcome to the shed. This afternoon, Saturday afternoon, what we're going to do is we're going to put a CV joint into a little front wheel drive car. In this case it's a Toyota Starlet. We've got a box that's come from our mates on eBay, and we've got a CV joint with a boot, some leaky grease, which I found with my fingers, and we have some wire band clamps. These little wire band clamps, a lot of guys wrestle with them. They're a bit of a pain in the Khyber Pass when it comes to tightening them up. This clamp here is a little bit brutalised in transit, but it's no big deal because we've got the special tool for doing it. I'll give you a quick demo of the special tool, because what you do with this, and when I say quick demo, that's what I mean, it will be a quick demo. Excuse me. Try and get this thing to feed through in the correct direction. There we go. Alright, so what we do is we take this, we feed it through here, and it goes through there, and then it comes up into this piece here, and we feed it in there, and then we rotate this. Now I'll show you, we'll get that out of the way. What happens is, before you rotate it, you actually pull it up onto here, and then when you've got it far enough, you bend it back, clamp these tabs over, or you blend it at 90. This here that we fed it through, excuse me, what it is it's actually a rotating jaw cutter. So it'll actually cut it off. Because it's black, you can't see it very well. And it's worse because I'm facing the wrong direction for the lighting, but hopefully you can get enough. See, it's perfectly flat through here because that's the back side of the cutter. So yeah, look, excuse me, we'll get the car in, we'll get the CV joint off. The car's old, it's done a lot of work. I'm very hesitant when it comes to pulling the inner CV joint out. If I can, I'd like to leave it in place, which means we might make a special tool for pulling the outer joint off the shaft while the shaft's in position. I'll have a look at it, make up my mind when I'm doing it. I'll be back. Okay, so what we've got is we've got the car jacked up on safety stands. It's been checked, we've given it a shake, good shake to make sure it doesn't come off the stands. It's in neutral, and we're going to rip the wheels off it when I get the right size socket. The wheels, we're going to pull one wheel off. This is the one we need to deal with. Now, if you're doing this without the aid of power tools, I'd actually do it in a different order. I'd actually take this locking pin out, this cotter pin or split pin. It's actually a split pin. I'll take the split pin out. I'd loosen this nut off. Then I'd loosen the wheel nuts. Then I'd jack it up. Because I have power tools, the rules change. And we can do stuff in different sequences. I'm going to get rid of that tree that was sitting on, and I'm going to sit on this wheel because it brings me down to a better height to work on it. So now what we'll do is we will take a pair of side cutters, bend this pin up like that. Take a little punch and a little hammer. Now you've got to be a bit careful when you tap them back through like this, because if you get it wrong, you'll bend it again and it'll jam up and it'll give you the proverbials. Now we take the side cutters, a bit of pressure. Now there's a lip here that you probably can't see, it depends on how big your screen is, but I can lever off that pin and get some mechanical advantage. So we now have the pin. That's off. Now we just need to find a socket the right size, and that's a bit big. We'll go to, what's that one got out? Too small. That's got everything in it except for what I need. Grab this lot. That there looks like the right size, and it's on far enough. It actually doesn't quite fit, but we're on far enough. We've got the 3/4 gun, which will undo from 1700 Newton meters, so it should undo this quite comfortably. Like that. So we'll just, actually we don't have to worry about putting that back on, because what we have is we have the soft hammer. To tap that shaft back through, which is the CV joint. Could you just grab the CV joint? I've got a helper here at the moment, he's just grabbing the CV joint off the bench for me, so I can show you the bit that I've just hit. Thank you very much, mate. So, effectively what we've done is we've got the CV joint, that's the nut that I've undone, and I've just hammered this back on the spline, because that sits in there through the centre of the wheel. So we'll sit that there. Yeah, little guy making noise. So what we'll do is we'll probably change camera position and give you a bit of a look, more of a look at inside here, and I'll get a couple more tools at the same time, and yeah, then we'll see how we go. So hopefully you can see what's going on in here. What we're going to do is we are going to see if we can just no, we can't rattle that out, so we'll just take this bolt here out. There we go. Should have got an extension. It'll make it a bit easier. So we've got that bolt there out. Let's the brake line come free. It's it's not a bad bolt actually. It's not, leave the camera, mate. That was exactly where it needed to be. Can you turn the steering on? Turn the key on one notch, please, mate. The steering lock kicked in. That's the problem there. Is we turn this. You need the steering lock unlocked. Yep. No, it needs to be one, mate, not two. Yep, that'll be cool. So now what we'll do is we'll undo the brake caliper. And then we'll take this one out. Cool. Note these two bolts are different lengths. Calipers off. Somewhere around here I do have a bit of wire, I thought. There we go. So hook a bit of wire through there. Put the caliper up on the spring out the way. The other thing that does too is it takes the strain off the brake hose, so it doesn't damage the brake hose. I don't know if you can see, but here's the split joint. Here's the split boot, and that's why it's throwing the grease out. So now what we'll do is we shall, the steering lock's kicked in again. We can live with that for the moment. That's the right size. That's 19mm. 19 on that side, 19 on this side. Top bolt out. Just put the nut on there. See these brake pads? You see they've got plenty of material left on them. A little bit of throw up there. These pads actually sit slightly up above the edge of the disc, which isn't a bad thing actually, because what it does is it stops them building up rust on the edge of the disc. And by stopping it building up rust on the edge of the disc, see how that came loose? It wasn't straight on it, which is why I was trying to do it from the other side. What it does is it tends to stop the brake squeal. So what I'm hoping, can you turn that key on again please, mate? So we're out further here. Cool. We'll give that tap like that, slide it like that, and there we go. We have one very trashed CV joint free. Now, what have we got? I'm going to turn this a little bit. What I don't want to do is I don't want to disturb the inside, because if I disturb the inside on this, gearbox oil, drive shaft seal, probably an inner CV joint, because it's done so many Ks. I love my clean hands. It's done so many Ks, it's probably worn a groove in the CV joint. So if we're not putting a CV joint in, we're putting a speedy sleeve in. That's about another $40 or $50. The CV joint itself is only $38 on the UPay website. And we just don't want to open up a can of worms. So what I'm going to do is I'll grab a couple of screwdrivers, we'll cut this off, I'll hang on to that, I'll give it a tap with a hammer. If I'm lucky, it'll come loose. Actually, I might even just give it a tap now and see what happens. No, I'm not that lucky. Looks like I'm going to be making some tooling. Back for part. Okay, so we've got this hanging down at the moment. What I've got is I've got a fine flat screwdriver, which I'm just going to put on the back here and go tap tap underneath that clip that I actually showed you earlier on, that steel clip. What that does is that opens this up. Now this clip here is a slightly different design to the universal one that I showed you. What it does is, let's see if I can cut this off. Now, probably going to be hard to get along with. go. Got through it. What this one does, the way this works, is that you bend it over, and as it bends over, it actually pulls that around there, and you get the length of this, or 2 times the length of this is pull up. Sorry, not 2 times, 1 times the length of this is pull up. So it's got to be fairly close to start with. Yes, it's all mutilated, I know, but it's a round clip. It started off as a nice round single piece of metal. And so what you got to do is when you're putting these on properly, what you do is you slide these on, then you slide your boot on, and then you slide it up over your boot and clip it onto your boot. There's another one here, which with a bit of luck, we'll give it a tap, and there we go, it's coming out. So you can see this coming out here, I hope. Yes, you are, it's shot. It's shot. Now I can pop this one out over there, outside diameter. And so here you get a slightly better look at it. And so what you can see is that as I bend that over, it hooks into here and pulls it up. Obviously it's not doing it right because it hasn't got something nice and solid to clamp onto. Then what we do is, once we've got it bent over into position, so it bends over into position, it's in here, then we fold these tabs over to hold it there, and it'll sit there for 250,000, 500,000, 1.5 million kilometres, no problems at all. So yeah, we don't need that, mate. What I actually need is, can you grab my yellow knife up there, please, mate? So yep, there's that one out of the way. Now normally I wouldn't get too fussed about this, but we're going to be quite careful with the knife, because the last thing I want to do is cut myself. Actually want to get this here off. So that's actually the outside of the rubber boot, because it slides over, and this bellows bit which is up on the inside, which is going to be probably a bit annoying to get off. I'm going to be a little more careful here because I don't want to cut myself. There we go. This goes with that, and we actually have the remnants of the CV boot. So that bit's cactus, and it's out of the way. My hands are black, I still need to keep working with them. The joint is quite noisy. We'll talk about CV joints in a little bit. The interesting thing about CV joints is they have almost, or they should have almost, no free play in it. And this one's got heaps, and the reason it's got heaps is it is more than a little bit worn. So I don't know how much of that you can actually see there. Oh yeah, you can see a bit more than I thought you could. Now, the inside joint on this is a slightly different design, and so I'm being really careful that I don't pull on it too hard, because if I pull on it too hard it'll fall out and it'll be apart, and that's more drama than I want to deal with today, or yesterday, or tomorrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to make something that clamps around this part of the shaft. It's got 2 arms coming out on it. It'll go over here, and then I can use this nut, this thread here, to pull it off. So effectively what we're going to do is we're going to make a puller. So there's a couple of things here that I need to know. I need to know that this is turned on. I need to know the diameter of this bit of shaft here, which is 21 millimeters. So we're going to be sizing for that, and I would need to know roughly what sort of length we're looking at. So we're looking at about, from the back of this step to the front here, we're looking at a couple of 195, 200. It's the dimension's not critical. What we're more interested in is a minimum dimension for the material that we're going to cut. So we want a couple of bits of flat bar, a couple 100 mil long. The other thing that we're going to be interested in is how wide the diameter of this, which is, yeah, in the ballpark of 80 mil. So whatever we got to do is we've got to work on a minimum distance across here of about 80 mil. So what we'll probably do is make something that's a bit bigger than 80 mil, so that we've got plenty to work with. You can turn the camera off now, Mr. Cameraman.